Hey guys, welcome back to FixItPhillip. We have a 2008 Jeep Liberty with a 3.7 V6 and we got an oil leak coming from the oil pan. The drain plug gets stripped inside the actual pan. The plug is just spinning and spinning and won't come out, so we're going to change oil pan today. Okay, so here's the oil pan now. You can see this drain plug's all stripped too. And it's just spinning, not going anywhere. So, time for a new oil pan. And here's the new oil pan. Came with the new drain plug and gasket already. Okay, so we got a bunch of 10mm bolts all the way around. Just gonna pry off this little bracket here for the transmission cooler lines. Push this off to the side. Pull this off. Oh! Okay, in the back of the pan where the engine meets the transmission, we have this aluminum bracket here that wraps around to the other side. We're going to take off those bolts and remove that bracket so we can get to the 10mm oil pan bolts towards the back. So we got 3 on this side, 2 right here facing the other direction, and we got 3 more on the other side. Here's the driver's side of the bracket. Okay, the last 15. And this can come out. Okay, now we have room to get to all these 10mm here in the back of the oil pan as well. Remember to put the bolt with the stud back on the same spot for this bracket. Okay, that's it. We just gotta pry on it a little bit. Okay, it's a total of 17 10mm bolts for the oil pan. I'm actually going to try to tap on it a little bit and see if it'll loosen up. Nope. Okay, here it comes. Okay, once you get the pan loose, the gasket needs to be separated from the oil pan. This one's pretty stuck, but the pan will not come off if the gasket is stuck on the oil pan, because the gasket is like a whole tray that sits inside here and has a couple bolts holding it to the inside of the engine, so you got to make sure you separate the gasket from the pan in order to get the pan off. So this one's super stuck, so I got to separate the pan all the way around. I'm just going to wedge a screwdriver in there and start prying it off. We're changing the pan and the gasket, so I'm just going to go at it. Wow, this thing is stuck. Holy smokes. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Okay, so I've been prying on it here for a little bit, and you can see what I'm talking about as far as, see, this gasket needs to stay up because it's all part of this pan. So you don't want to pry on the whole thing without separating it. So man, this gasket is just totally stuck on this oil pan. So yeah, if you're doing this work, definitely got to change the oil pan gasket. Almost done. Just got a little bit more to go. Okay, finally got it off. So in order to get the pan all the way out, this cross member here is welded to the frame. So what we're going to do is take these two nuts off here for the oil pickup tube, and we have one more up here, and I think they're 13 millimeters. So we're going to take that off. The oil pan does come with a new O-ring for the pickup tube, so we can put a fresh one on when we're all done. Okay. I can't believe how stuck that gasket was onto the oil pan. That's ridiculous. Okay, we should be able to just wiggle this right out. There you go. Here's that O-ring that we're going to replace later. Okay, now this pan should come out. There we go. Just make sure if your gasket was stuck on the oil pan as bad as this one was, that you're prying right in between the gasket and the pan, and you're not scoring up the edge of the block here. We don't want to damage this. Okay, here's the oil pickup. You gotta make sure that the screen's all free and clear. We're gonna clean that up and then change this O-ring when we put it back. And you can see how much of this gasket material is just adhered to the old pan. So man, that was a pain to take off, but it's off now. So we're gonna prep the block, make sure it's all cleaned up before we put a new gasket and new oil pan. Okay, I got this all cleaned up and wiped down. So we're gonna put the oil pickup tube on, the new oil pan gasket and the new oil pan. Pickup tube slides through here. I got a new O-ring on here as well. And that's gonna bolt up like that. And we gotta shove this all in the oil pan and kind of get it seated in there. So I'll just set it all in the oil pan for now. Okay. There's a little bit of play in the openings here as far as moving side to side, so what we can do is put a couple oil pan bolts on here on both sides just to kind of center it before we put on the pickup tube and tighten it down, so that way the holes line up when you put the oil pan back on. Okay. Okay, make sure the pickup tube is seated good. Okay, the O-ring seated good up here, so I'm just going to tighten this down first. Okay, all these bolt holes are lined up good, so now I can tighten this up. So we can take off these guide bolts, we'll call them. We'll put on the oil pan. Make sure to put this one with the stud back on this side where the transcooler bracket pushes onto it. Okay, so I'm just gonna get all these started and then we'll tighten them up with the ratchet. Okay, I'm going to tighten these down in a crisscross pattern from the inside, you know, going out. Make sure they're all snug down evenly. I'm going to go over it a couple times. I'm gonna do another pass, make sure they're all snug down evenly. And they're little bolts going in aluminum, so and just make them pretty snug, but they don't need to be crazy tight. Just gonna go in a circle real quick. Make sure you didn't miss any. They're all tightened down evenly. Okay, so it's all tight, so make sure that the new drain plug and gasket is tight. Put this bracket back on in the back, and this bracket here for the trans-cooler lines. Then just gonna put a new oil filter on real quick and fill it up with some new oil. Okay, got the new oil filter on, new engine oil, and it's running, and everything looks good. So we are good to go. So thank you for watching Fix It Phillip. Be sure to like and subscribe. And remember, with Fix It Phillip, you can fix it. I'll see you next time.